What do my NT boys coming through once again? And on today's video, we're gonna respond to a short put out there by JD Delay. And the reason why is because he was trying to give some advice. He was throwing 2 cents, and I agree with some, and I disagree with other things. Right? He was bringing a flag about why people are protesting with the Mexican flag here and that. They don't want to go to their country and stuff like that. But we're gonna school this individual and tell it how it is. And I do agree with some of his points. Right? Again, before we continue with this video, do not forget to hit the like and comment. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button. We do appreciate it. Also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time we drop a video. So let's get to this video. So on his short, right, it shows the burning car that happened in front of the donut shop, right? The donut shop. And what was it, on Saturday, June 7, right? This past June 7. There was a white car burning. And there's a motorcycle with the Mexican flag, right? Of course, JD Delays is watching the Fox News, right? Even though he proclaims he's not a Republican, he's not a Democrat, but sure enough, he's watching these news station, which it just shows you what kind of content people see, right? And they're bringing up the facts about the Mexican flag, right? And then JD Delays is basically saying that these people are protesting because they don't want to go back to their country, right? And sure enough, they're flying this flag, the Mexican flag, right? Well, let me lace you up a little bit, homeboy. The people who are protesting in LA, right? First of all, the protests in the ICE raids in LA were made purposely. Come on, you're gonna go to the biggest Mexican community in America, LA, right? Then they're gonna put those crazy ass weapons, bricks, by I don't know who put them right there. I don't know who put them right there. You can point fingers, all of that stuff. Who cares? But we know why, right? These people who are protesting, they're not illegals, man. The illegals are in their house. Those people who are protesting are citizens of the United States. They're protesting not because they don't want to go back to their country, which their country is the American soil. That's their country. They're showing support to those illegals. They can't go out there and protest. Why? Because they're going to get picked up and put on a detention center and basically sent back to their country, which not everybody is Mexican, right? Now, I do understand that there's going to be people who are going to cross the line, right? It goes with everything. This doesn't mean that everybody's like that, right? You're saying that they should send the Marines so they can make an example out of those individuals who are burning cars, building, or attempting to break into the building, right? And basically set as an example. But if the government should set an example on January 6, 2021, when a mob got inside the Capitol, took over, and threatened the lives of those politicians, maybe none of this would have happened. Why? Because if you would have set an example right there, trust me, maybe other people would have learned, right? But nobody brings that shit up. Nobody brings up the fact that those individuals that went to prison, guess what? Because of that same act, got pardoned. Nobody brings up the fact that even one of those individuals who got pardoned, months later, he became unalive by a police officer because he pulled out a gun on him. So again, let's get shit together, because a lot of people are quick to point fingers, right? And you want to see the bad on everything, homie, but look at the reflection. If you say you don't represent a party, okay, we can respect that. But the whole thing about trying to make those guys who are protesting because the illegals can't protest. That's not cool, man. Yes, they're using the Mexican flag, but guess what? There are also American flags right there. They're protesting with those. But the whole thing protest is not about going back to Mexico. It's protesting because the ICE department is breaking families apart. Supposedly, according to the news outlet that you're watching, that you put out there, the Fox News, right? It's saying that the people who are being picked up verbatim by that lady who said it on this Sunday, 8 June 8. She said nothing but murderers and individuals who have hard charges. That's what she said. But sure enough, the people who are being picked up are mothers, dads, family members who are working on restaurants. They're raiding restaurants. They're they're raiding job sites. So let's just be a little more conscious of what we say, right? So again, those people protesting, they're USA citizens. Their country is right here in America. Not literally right here, but just saying. I think you should stay with the whole show hunting. Go with that stuff. I think that helps you. Don't forget, man, that president is on that list. So the same president that you're pushing for is on that same chomo list. Let's not forget that. Just saying. Now, I do agree with you in where you're talking about there has to be a reform, right? And where there has to be a background check. And give them the opportunity. It's like I have said it before. Becoming a resident once you go in there illegally is difficult. Either you have to become a victim of a crime, or you have to marry into with the citizen, right? That's basically the options. But I believe that whoever is getting picked up, they should have the right to become a resident. Just as long as they can prove they are working, they're able to maintain themselves, and they're not taken from the government. I agree with that 100%. And trust me, if the U.S. would give that option, it wouldn't be that many protests out there, because at least they'll know that the right people who are for America will stay in America. Now, the guys who are being criminals and stuff like that, they're getting kicked out to whatever country they have to go, right? Because not everybody's Mexican right there. But that's what I had to say, because in June, when it happened, that the whole thing with when they took the Capitol, ain't nobody was making a big deal about this. They were calling those individuals heroes. And we're talking about the Fox News. Why? Because the president at that time lost the election. And once he became president again, he pardons those individuals who were doing a gang of time. Who some individuals had already finished their sentence, right? But he took that off the record. So when you're trying to say that all of these guys, they're rioting, yeah, there's some people who are rioting for sure. There's a lot of people who are protesting. Let's not forget that there are going to be people infiltrating these masses for the purpose of creating chaos. We have to know how things work. You say you've been in prison, man, so I don't know how the prison runs in your state, but you have to understand how politics work, man. It's all a game, man, and whoever wins the game, whoever understands the game, is the person who wins. So don't get blinded by the smoke screen that you see on TV. Don't get blinded by that news channel that you pay attention to. A lot of people pay attention to, right? Pay attention to both channels. Open your mind, and then give a righteous opinion. I'm not saying that you're wrong. but I'm not saying you're right. The only thing what I'm saying is that sometimes we have to see the real purpose of this, and understand that always there's going to be people behind with the alternative motives. You know, this government in the U.S. is not a saint. You know, we have to understand. You have to read history and understand how your government works. You know, I'm not here to school you. I'm just here to guide you. Yep. If you want to be schooled, you already know where to look at. Go on. There's books that talk about this, man. And at the end of the day, man, I do understand that people need to fly the Mexican and the American flag, and they're doing that. But those protesters, they're not illegal. Those protesters are citizens. Trust me, they're citizens. And they are showing support because they see that what's happening in LA is not right. So with this being said, if you're a protester or you plan to protest, do it with class. Don't fall for those booby traps that were put right there by the government, by whoever put it right there. You know, don't fall for that. They want you to look bad in front of the camera. Everybody's watching. You know, be smarter. So, with that being said, we are out.